Okay, so this is what we've got so far. If you remember from the last stream, we only had this base and we hadn't extruded these sides. But now we have this top part pretty much done. And we're gonna work on the windows, this like general area, the railings, and I also put some lo-fi for ambience. So I'll just keep that on. Should probably pull up the stream on my phone. There we go. Okay. So we're working on these top railings. And I'm doing maybe 6 to 8, I guess it's per railing. So for the beams. And then maybe like 10 centimeters of thickness. And that's what we're going to be doing all the way across. And we also have the, hold up, okay, there it is. This is pretty updated, and we have a really good tower view here, so we're gonna get some really nice detail. Hey Sebastian, thank you for the feedback. I really am glad that my tutorials were helpful. So we're gonna go ahead and move on with the antennas once we're done with the railings. Here you can see that the railings up here, it only has like maybe 2 beams. We're adding 6, but I don't think the railings matter too much as long as it doesn't look too empty. I'm gonna keep it at 6 for each one up here. And then maybe here at the bottom, since it's maybe a little thinner, we're gonna go with 8 or maybe even 10 per section. Got one more. And then we'll do another 6 on this side. And I notice the railings are actually, they go out a little bit. So maybe I should do that with these as well. So actually let's get rid of the beams. And then we could also just change the setup we have to 3 beams instead of 6, because that way it's more accurate. So go ahead and delete that, and you can get rid of the loop cuts as well. Oh shoot, hold up. Oh. There we go. Dissolve that. And then maybe, let's see how we're gonna do this. Oh, I didn't notice this. Oh, that's really weird. Okay, so let's do the same thing on this side because I think there's a similar issue here. And maybe we should just redo the whole railing so that we can bring it out and then not have to mess up. Unless, I mean, I guess we could try reselect this and then scale it out like that. Okay, that works. S.1, no, S1.1. There's one problem with this, and it's the fact that this is going further out, where it's like, it doesn't look right. So I think I might just redo the whole thing. So okay, delete that and rebuild the faces. Oh. Make sure we don't forget about these. Deselect that face. Okay. Alright, we're good now. And fill these faces in. Okay. Extrude by 1 meter. And then scale this out. And then we make the beams. S1.1. Is that how far out? No, it's a little less. 0.5 or 1.05. I think that looks right. Okay. So now we're gonna ring select these faces and we're gonna inset and we're gonna double click I. And now we have the individual insets. Oh, that's why. So if you can see, it goes beyond the scope of what it can handle, and that's why the faces overlap. It doesn't matter though, we can like reconstruct the faces right after we're done insetting these. So I think for the thickness, we'll do 1 or 0.1, sorry. And yeah, I think that's what we did. And then delete these faces. And now we have the railing, right? So I wonder if the problem is gonna persist. Actually, no, it seems to be fixed now. Yeah, so you see how it's much more straight now and it isn't all scaled out. That's kind of what we were aiming for. Because if we left it the other way we did it, it would have been a mess, like topology wise, maybe even shading wise. You need to keep that stuff in mind, like whenever you're modeling a building, because then when you're texturing, it's going to become a problem. So you're going to have issues baking textures, adding ambient occlusion, and you don't want that. That's why, like from the get-go, as soon as you're making your model and you see issues with like faces being stretched out or like, you know, stuff like that, or like this, you gotta watch out for that, because otherwise it's gonna be a problem. Like for sure it will be a problem. So now it's kind of like slanted outward, which is what we wanted. And we'll do, since in this reference we can see only 3 beams, or sorry, it's literally like 2 beams actually, which is not a lot. And whoops, okay, we can bevel these the same thickness that we had them at before, and then we can fill them in. Or actually, no, yeah, this is fine. Okay. So we'll check with the reference. I think this looks okay. You see, this angle is strange because at first I thought it didn't go all the way around, but if you take a closer look, you can see the corner of this thing meets up with that corner. Meaning this angle, it's something, it's not too slanted like from the picture. You kind of like have to zoom out to realize that's just kind of the angle of the picture. That's why it looks weird, but all we have to do is just base ourselves off of the reference, and we shouldn't really worry about like whether or not it looks right. Like as long as we have, or obviously we have to eyeball it sometimes, but like as long as you're following what you're seeing, like two beams on each side, then the angle of the picture, you know, it might make things seem weird, but then when you look at another reference, you realize, oh, it's actually right. And like, you know, whenever you're looking at numbers, like when I was making this top part in Google Earth, this is, hold up, let me do the measurements. It's 14 meters, but this width, the width on the one that I have, is actually 9 meters, or yeah, 9.8 meters. And it's because sometimes, you know, based on the angle and like you can see the surface kind of slants a little bit, and that adds to the surface area. You kind of have to keep that stuff in mind and like align it. Like if you have references like this one, obviously this one is just like, I can never get my references to align, but sometimes you kind of have to eyeball it and, you know, hope for the best, frankly, because otherwise it's just gonna look really weird. Like things are gonna look out of proportion. Like if I were to scale this out to 14 meters, this would go like all the way out, even beyond the scope of this roof. And if you look from the top-down view on Google Earth, you can see it only goes out this far, which is how it should be. But if you only base yourself off of the measurements that you're taking, and you're not really like looking at your building and making sure that things are in proportion, then everything's just gonna be off. So, 0.05. And I do numbers whenever I'm beveling because I like to keep things really proportional, like all throughout. Because otherwise, if you take closer looks, like if you're rendering or previewing your project, people are gonna notice imperfections that shouldn't be there, and you need to avoid that stuff as much as you can, because otherwise your model is just not going to look as good. And it's like such a stupid thing, but it makes a whole like a huge difference. Okay, now here I forgot to fill these faces in. Okay, I'm getting the impression that these aren't like 100% straight, at least not these. Now, minimal things like these usually aren't a huge deal. I don't think this is a big deal because it's not like they're going all the way out here or anything, but it's also stuff that you have to like watch out for. Like you need to develop that quality, like that eye for quality assurance. And I know it sounds stupid, but like, trust me, there's so many times where like when you're starting out and you're modeling things, minor details that slip up can cause major problems later on. So you want to make sure you catch those like very early. Like here I'm making sure you see the Z value, it's 18 meters above ground level, and I'm making sure it's aligned with the top of the railing because it is in the picture. And if you go to Google Earth, you can see 23 meters all throughout. which means that this is actually 19 meters. So, see, if I hadn't checked Google Earth for that type of thing, I would have messed up the height. So now we can just move the railing up. Let's just select this top part. Let's see, make sure that GZ. Okay. I don't usually like doing this because it kind of like stretches things out. Okay, let's see. Let's just move this. Okay, let's try moving this up to 19. And then we move this to the bottom part. Wait, hold up. So this is at 17.901, meaning the difference, this minus 18 is wait, hold up, let me do the math real quick. 18 minus, what? Hold up. 18 minus 17.9013. 0.00987 should be the difference between both faces. So we just select this frame, do 19 meters, and then 19 minus this. And this is the height of the bottom faces for it to be proportional. Whoops. Okay, there we go. So we select these, paste this, and you see how it's even? Oh man. This looks really weird now. Let's see, is that how it looks in the reference? Nope. Okay. You see, this is what I mean by small details, because whenever you see it's something seemingly stupid, like the height of the railing, but you have to check Google Earth and like references, and you need to make sure that it all matches. Like whenever you're doing even this, because now I'm gonna have to maybe even raise this ground even a little higher than it was before. But with that would come raising this whole entire thing, you know? So it just kind of like complicates everything. So this is currently at 16.75, and this is at 17, okay? So how about we move this up Well, here's the thing, okay. So here's why I'm concerned. Let's select this. Deselect that. Okay. So now we can raise this platform. Now we have to select these edges too. So now we can't really do that, because if we select these edges, it's gonna take like the average, the mean average height of all of them, and that's not, we're gonna have things that are off proportion. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna redo the railings again, because I just don't want to screw those up. And so if I were to move this, see, this is better. Now I can move this up 17.25. So 0.25. And then maybe I can move this up to 17. .25, and now I'm gonna have to get rid of this seam. Create a new seam. And then this is up at 19. And now we make the new railing. So, well, here's the problem actually. It's gonna have to be nearly 2 meters tall, which is not how it appears to be here. Okay. So that means this has to go up to 18, or let's do 0.5 so that it's at 17.75. That way we like stand in the middle ground and it's more likely to be accurate. Okay. And okay, let's move this. How thick is it? Okay. 0.2. Okay. 17.3. Okay. Just trying to be precise. So now we have a lot more space to work with. This can even go further down. Okay. This is better. Okay. So let's redo the railing. Select this. E1.25. And now the top reaches that part. So now we scale this out. S1.05, I believe. Okay. Select this ring, I.01 or 0.1. Delete these faces and then fill all these in. Okay. Make sure we save at this point because we don't want to lose our progress. And yeah. Okay, so now we do the beams again. Oh, actually, first we remake these faces. Okay, cool. So now those aren't messed up anymore. And so those won't be an issue with shading. So now we select these top and bottom ones, and we do this throughout the ring. And we isolate them, and then we loop cut. Okay. Here, let's just do one by one. So 0.05, and then fill that in. Okay. Oh, we need to make sure we do. Okay, there we go. Okay, so fill these in, and after this, we're just gonna focus on the railing downstairs, because there is another railing that I kind of messed up on, I think. So we'll redo that one, and then we'll do the support beams, and I think after that we'll be done. Oh no, and then we have the antennas, and then some doors and other details like gutters and stuff like that. Okay, so that railing's done, the height's done. We fixed that. Okay, this has to go a little further up. Okay, sweet. Save. And now we redo these, or are they that bad? I feel like we could just work with this. Sorry. So we'll do 10 on each side, which is kind of a pain, but I feel like that'll make it look more populated. So select all 10. .05, fill all of them in. I think these are too thick for the railings that we're making. Here, instead of redoing them, we can just try and scale them on the x-axis. Actually, I think it might be better to just redo them. Okay. Okay, we do 10. And we'll do half the size that we did. So like 0.25, or sorry, 0.025. There we go. That looks a little better. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I wonder if we can straighten these out, like S at 0, like each individual one. Oh, we can. Okay. So we'll select every other one and do the same thing. We'll just select all of them, just to make sure. Wait. Individual origins? Oh, perfect. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now our railings are going to be straight. Nice. Let's go ahead and fill them in. I think this was more of a chill song. The other one had like, I don't know, I just didn't like the vibe. It was fine, but it just wasn't hitting. This is like a really general lo-fi playlist that I've had for a few years. If anyone knows of like any other good lo-fi playlists that I can check out, that would be great, because I think I need a new playlist for streams. So here we can't straighten these out because they're slanted, unless, hold up. So what if we did local SS? Okay, no, SX, or SY, Z. See, I don't know. We'll just leave them slanted just because I don't want to risk screwing up the mesh again. We can if the orientation of the edge is aligned with the world axis. So like the one that is facing that way and the one that's facing that way, we'll be able to straighten those out, but not these. At least as far as I know. Okay. 025. Oh, careful. Okay, select these two. Select these two. These. Okay, 10 on each side. Let's redo that actually. One zero two five, and then fill all those in. My brain's on like autopilot right now. I'm not thinking, I'm just doing this stuff. That's why modeling is relaxing sometimes, because you're just kind of like doing stuff and it's therapeutic in some way. Okay, here we're gonna be able to straighten out the edges because we're facing the axes, the global axes. So we're just gonna go ahead and select every other edge. And then S at 0. Do the same thing for the Y. Or not the Y, sorry, the other edges. Okay, sweet. So now I'll select all of them and then go ahead and bevel them by 0.25. Alright, we're set. Yo, what's up, Osman? How you doing? Hope you're having a good day, man. Working on any projects? This one has been in the works for a really long time. Like, I actually don't know if I'll ever get it done. Like, I'm pretty sure I started Hilton Head when like, literally last summer. I'm pretty sure. I mean, we could literally go through the files, and the earliest one, big stuff. Oh, that's awesome, man. I wish I could say the same. I've just been too busy for projects and stuff like that. School has been keeping me busy. A whole bunch of other stuff as well. I don't think I'll ever be making anything too big, at least not that I can anticipate. Little over a year. Is it close to being done, or you still got a lot of work to do on it? Man, I got a lot of work to do on Hilton Head. Like, it was supposed to be this secret project that we would work on, like behind the scenes. But like, since we eventually kind of just gave up on it, or at least I did, because of like all the busyness I've had going on. I'd say in like 2-3 months. Nice. 2-3 months. Man, I remember when I started working on Marathon, I was like locked in on that project until the end. That was my first ever project, and I was so determined. And like when I released it, I remember I was traveling, and it was like, I felt so cool, like having released my first ever paper project on the store. Like, it was the biggest deal ever. At the time, that airport sucked, but I mean, some people say that it's pretty good, and as long as they're happy with it. And I mean, I priced it pretty fairly, I think. Yeah, man. You know, eventually, at least for me, you'll reach a point where you're gonna have to like force yourself to do stuff. Because I mean, at least in my case, I have not been motivated to work on anything. Yesterday I worked on this a little bit, and I've also got a pending project for Imagine Sim. I'm working on their Skylink train, their animation. I'm working on that, and they're doing early release or early access or something. I forgot what it was, but they're doing that. They've been doing that for about a week, I think, and they were just waiting on me for like the full release. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But it's definitely been pretty tedious. I mean, it's not difficult to animate train, but you know, you have to create the path, the curve, all that stuff. That takes time. Like, that requires time. And sometimes I just don't have that time. So I end up stalling on everything I do. Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, there's a lot of criticism in the flight sim community now, especially that flight sim 2024 or 2020 or either or. People have had crazy expectations on add-ons. Like, it takes up such a huge toll on the developer, and it's just insane, man. Like, for the flight sim 2020 standards, I would never be able to keep up with that much. Like, if I can barely keep up with this. Not for flight sim 2020, man. That's for like full-time people. Not for me. I barely get to do this whenever I like have time. And see, now we have to make these beams. Okay, I see what's going on. Picture's a little funky. Whoops. But I think there's like a little column here. Let me take a look. Hold up. I like tapped through something. Whoops. See, and I don't like the fact that like you can literally release anything. Like in Flight Sim 2020, you can literally release like whatever, and people are gonna buy it. It doesn't matter if it's high quality anymore, or I mean, obviously people are gonna complain about it, but like quality is just like it doesn't matter. People just release whatever. Like you see the boat add-ons. Like if you like check Sim Market daily, you'll see a whole lot of random stuff like that people release every day. Like, and it's insane. Like they're making money off of that. And then there's people who actually work really hard, like Flightbeam. And it's not even just among the customer base. Like developers like BM World messing up, like deliberately messing up. I'm not sure if you guys have heard about that whole dilemma with BN World and Flightbeam, but supposedly they were purposely screwing over Flightbeam by just working on the same projects that Flightbeam was working on and then releasing them before Flightbeam, and then that ultimately like would mess them up or something. The allegations are pretty strong, and I honestly am siding with Flightbeam because it's really obvious. I've always been really skeptical about BM World doing stuff like that with Flightbeam, because like I've always noticed that type of pattern, but once it was an official thing, it was just the craziest thing ever. Like I don't understand how someone could put so much time and effort into an airport just to be a hater. Like it's incredible. Yeah, I mean, I would say like half of the developers, at least half of the Microsoft Flight Sim developers, are like worse than Xplane quality, like way worse. And Xplane quality has been like, if you've seen the recent updates, I'm not sure if you're in the developer Slack, but the new stuff that they've been putting out, like the new previews for 12.2 and stuff, I'm pretty sure they've announced it lately. Like the graphics are getting really like a lot better, and the market just it's just kind of dying, and it's sad because we need people to keep motivating developers to make stuff for Xplane. That's just what we need. And I mean, obviously, there's people like you in the freeware community that make stuff, and I mean, honestly, hats off to you and Lee and stuff for putting all that effort and work into airports for the community. I used to, think that way, but like once I got busy, it just became like really tedious to even think about working on anything free. Like every so often I think like, hey, I should probably do this like freeware project, and then I never end up doing anything. So yeah, I mean, that stuff is not easy. It's not easy at all. People think just because it's freeware, somehow it's like maybe like worse quality, or there's really good resources to make high quality freeware now with like all the libraries, like $0 payware, ALS. I'm not sure if anyone still uses ALS, the developer library, and then Terraware Designs. I think they made a library like where you can use ground textures and stuff. Yeah, I think you're right. They announced that in the Discord like a few days ago. See, I kind of forget sometimes, like whenever they do that. Yeah, it is easier. I will agree with that. Like, people will, like, whenever there's a flaw or something with the airport, they're just gonna, like, they won't complain as hard as if you're making payware. There's a lot less pressure on you. Now, I'm not really sure what's going on there, but with this thing, but, you know, we'll see if we can actually. I don't think there's any other reference. This is the most updated reference I could find on the tower, and it's literally just street view on the area. Kind of looks like there's like a building coming out of this building, you know? It doesn't go this far out. Let's move it back, actually. Let's check the normals. Okay. Got some stuff to fit here. Okay, we're good. Alright, Osman, thank you for joining, man. Good luck on your projects. Really looking forward to see that. Okay. Plane. Or you know what? Yeah, no, we're gonna have to like rotate it on the y-axis. And so we got one. I think it needs to be thicker. Sweet. Oh, the normals are fine too. Okay. Maybe we could even join these. Oh, whoops. They are joint. Okay. So we're gonna have to knife tool across. Do the same thing here. And then here, let's just to copy the Z value here. Paste it. Oh, wait. Here, we'll worry about that once it's already on the thing. Okay, so we'll make it just about as tall. Here. SS cube. We'll move it back. Definitely needs to be smaller. Okay, move it further back. Okay, sweet. Okay, no, this is not. This isn't right. Okay. Actually, no, it is right. I just need to move it this way. And how many are there? There's 2, okay. So there's 2 of them. Let's duplicate this one. And then, does this go out? Yeah, it does. P-Y 0.25 SYZ. That was completely wrong, but that looks better. Okay. They don't come out that much, actually. Or actually, they do. Hold up. Yep, they do. There were 2. There were 2 on this side, and then on this side there were another 2. It's almost like there's 4 per side. Okay. Okay. There are no beams on this side. Okay, there's like 2 beams. So, you know what? We'll do this. Select linked. can just bevel this edge. I'm trying to make this part, this gutter thing, under the beams. So I figure as long as we bevel this edge, okay, not 11. Just copy that. Yeah, that's about how thick it is. Bring it down. Maybe even a little thicker. do have some references on Discord, but I think this is just going to be enough. We just need to add some windows in the gutter area on the side. We need to extrude this top part. Just extrude this whole part out. .05. So it's probably like 0.4 and then 0.5 is just about how wide it is. That looks right. Maybe even a little closer to the roof. So, oh, I see, okay. I almost forgot about the balcony. So this balcony area, there's like a light here on the side. I don't know. I'll add the beams on the bottom here. There's one on each side. Seems like this cut off. Let me pull it back up. There we go. Okay, so these, they're not too big. Okay, so that's looking good. And I think I'm going to leave it at that for today. We still got some minor details to work on, like some doors, some walls, some miscellaneous objects, and the antennas as well. And then I think after that, we're going to be ready to texture. I think this is a pretty simple building, but probably the thing that I'm going to have most difficulty with is going to be figuring out like some of those miscellaneous like details, Like here, I can't really tell what that is. Or I don't really know what's back there. And because there's only so much reference I have. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate, but I also want it like to make it at least close to what it is in real life. So, yeah. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. We'll pick it up next time.